Hey everyone, welcome to another Q&A Thursday. My name is Rachel Harrison-Sund and I'm here to answer all of your low content publishing related questions. So let's dive right into the first question of the day, which is from Sue. So Sue asks, when filling out the pricing info, do you match all countries or leave the default? For example, if I say $9.99 US and the others show at $9.37, do you change it to $9.99 or just leave it, and does it matter? So for me, I just always round it either up or down to the nearest 99%, or not 99%, 99 cents. I think just psychologically and visually, that's just something that as buyers we're used to seeing. I think it just looks a little bit more natural if something is at $9.99 or $8.99. I think when you see something at like $9.27 or something like that, it just seems a little bit off. So, at the end of the day, I'm not sure if it really makes that much of a difference. But for me, I just always do have it as a 99 at the end. Okay, so next question is from Kimberly. And Kimberly asks, do you use Amazon ads? And if so, how much of your success do you attribute to the ads? So I've never actually used Amazon ads so far. I've had some experience with Facebook ads when I was doing the fiction books, but I've never used Amazon ads either on even my fiction books or on my low content books. So in order for me to get good visibility on the store, I've always just relied first of all on creating a quality book that people are actually searching for. And then I rely on my keyword and category selection. And so far that has been enough to get me enough visibility in the Amazon store that I haven't really had to worry about purchasing ads on Amazon. Now, that's not to say that might not change in the future. And in fact, this is something that I plan on experimenting with shortly, simply because I've been asked this question a lot. So it would be great if I had some real answers to come back to you with regarding Amazon ads and how effective they are, and be able to share with you some real data points on books that either were or were not doing well, and then how they performed after using ads. So that is something I'm thinking about right now, and hopefully I'll have some further information in terms of how those things do in the near future. All right, third question is from Ashley. And Ashley asks, what size inside margin do you recommend? I realize Amazon sets a minimum, but I've noticed best-selling books for writing in have a sizable inside margin that makes books with this kind of binding more practical to use. So what Ashley's talking about is called the gutter, and that is your inside margin, the margin closest to the spine of the book. And the width of the gutter depends on how thick the book is, so basically how many pages you have. And as Ashley pointed out, Amazon does have set minimum requirements for gutter width. So for KDP, it's 0.375 inches for books up to 150 pages, and half an inch for books that are 151 to 300 pages. And then it kind of just goes up from there depending on how thick your book gets. But I think for most low content books, you're generally not going to be producing books that are over 300 pages. So up to half an inch on that inside gutter should cover you just fine. If you want a little bit of extra breathing room, just because your design calls for something a little bit more airy and you just like that extra room, then go ahead and add maybe an extra eighth or quarter of an inch if you want, but it's certainly not necessary. And don't go overboard, because if you make those gutters too wide and it doesn't match with the outside margin, it's just going to look like it's been maybe printed slightly off, or you're just going to end up with a really narrow column of content on the page, and that's not going to look good either. So just be wary of that. Okay, next question is from Lance, and Lance asks, how many different covers do you recommend for a specific interior? Do you do slight variations on interiors? So personally, when I've come up with an interior template, normally I will create about 10 to 20 different covers for that one interior. And depending on the style of that cover, I might make some adjustments to that interior, but it is generally the same with maybe some slight variations, like maybe I've chosen a different style for the font on the interior of that template because it just matches the theme and the outside cover a little bit more than what I've already got. But sometimes I will use pretty much the exact same interior file, just with 10 or 20 different covers. But the key here is to just make each cover design unique. So what you don't want is to have a book that has an interior file that's the same across 10 different books, and then the cover is essentially the same across those 10, but all you've done is made them in 10 different colors. That's not really a good idea. You want to have different visual styles on each of the covers so they are differentiated as, you know, a different style of that book, whatever it is. I have in the past tried out up to 3 different colors of the exact same cover, and you know, it didn't really help my sales at all, and it just does end up looking spammy. There's nothing worse than if you're on Amazon looking for a book and you type in whatever you're looking for and the first like 3 pages come up and it's all the exact same book, just in about 50 different shades of whatever color. That is just spammy. It's just clogging up the catalog. It's no use to you, and it's a terrible customer experience. So you really just want to steer clear of doing that. Just make sure if you're going to use that same interior, you've got 10 or 20 or however many unique covers on the front so that they are, completely different styles, preferably. And then yes, you can make some slight variations on that interior, just to kind of have it coordinate more with whatever that exterior style is. All right, Dee Dee asks, when using photos, can they be used for other book covers to be published elsewhere? For example, if I wanted to write a cookbook and use the same cover I used in a low content book. So yes, if you own the rights to a photo, so whether it's a photo that you took or one that you've downloaded and you now have the rights to via whatever the license is that came with that image, you can then use that image however you want, as many times as you want. That photo is yours to use. If it's the same exact cover design, if it's in a completely different niche so it won't confuse the customer, that's fine. But I think it's probably still best to use at least a slight variation, just so they're not exactly the same, because if a customer does come across both of them, that is going to kind of look a bit confusing. So I have used pretty much the same cover in a different niche, but I think you really do need to exercise caution there. Like I said, make sure they are in completely separate niches so that they're not kind of going to be standing side by side with one another in someone's search results. And again, if you really want to play it safe, which I would and which I do now, is I at least make some slight variation on it so it's not the exact same cover being used again. All right, let's see. I've got one more question here, also from Dee Dee. Can a photo be used multiple times on different sizes of the same low content book? Let's say you wanted to make a notebook in 6x9, but also 8x10. So I think the real question here is, can you publish the exact same book in different sizes? So yes, again, it's just a matter of not going overboard. So for example, what I do, if I've got a range of 6x9 planners, if I've got 1 or 2 of them that are doing quite well, then I might introduce the same planner in an 8x10 format. And what I'll do is I'll actually mention that in the description. So I'll have my planner, I'll have the description, my little bullet points, and then one of those bullet points might be, this planner is also available in 8x10 and blah, blah, blah format. And then I'll, have that in both of the descriptions for both the 8x10 and the 6x9. So you can definitely do that. But again, it's a matter of not going overboard. So there are whatever, like 15 different sizes of books you can choose when you're publishing your book. You don't need to make that low content book in every one of those sizes. Just use common sense. What are going to be the most popular sizes and orientations for that particular book? What's going to be the most popular, and just stick with those. There's absolutely no reason to do a guest book in every single size that's available. Same with the daily planner. Most people aren't going to want a daily planner that is like long and horizontal that folds out like a guest book. So it's just a matter of common sense and just not going overboard there. Okay, so that's it for today's questions. Hope you found them useful, and as always, if you have any more questions, just leave them in the comments below and I will answer them next week. And I hope you enjoyed, and have a great day, guys.